Okay friends, so we're going to get started on doing this fuel tank and fuel pump, but before we get going, we want to make sure that there's minimal fuel in this thing. Like if you can get it empty, get it empty. We want to make sure that you're safe as possible. Let's get started. One of the first things you need to do is remove the negative battery terminal. Give it a little wiggle. Let's set this aside so there's no way it can make connection. Okay, so one of the first things you want to do is get inside the trunk, and you're going to look for this sign right here. There's a little button. So pull this away so you can see. At this point, there's a little red button inside here. This is your inertia switch, so in case you get in an impact, this is going to be able to turn off the power for your fuel pump, turn off the fuel. So I'll just go right in between here. I'm going to lift up on this red tab. That's going to turn off the fuel pump, so we're going to relieve pressure now. I'm going to go inside and start it until it dies out. Let's get the key in here, start it up. All right, well, I'd say it's out of gas. Okay, so now we have our filler neck here. We have a fuel line that goes right there. I'll put a little bit of penetrant. We also have a mounting bolt that's right down there. Spray some penetrant on that as well. So right here, we're gonna remove this bolt. It's an 8mm headed bolt. There it is. So next we're gonna remove this. If you press in on this black part of the tab, you should be able to wiggle this and draw it off. There we go. So reach behind here and grab this black thing, just twist it and pull it up towards you. Okay, so next we have our fuel line here that goes on to the fuel sending unit. Should have a little clip. This one's rotted away. Majority of it's still stuck in there. So we're going to get as much of that out as possible and hopefully get this line off of the fuel pump. That looks pretty decent. I'm going to hit it with some penetrant. So next I'm going to use this type of tool right here. And this just slides over this line right here. It's going to go in and it's going to press up against the tabs in there. Usually you push the line a little bit. This should want to slide in. Once you have it in, carefully draw the line away. So if you follow the electric wiring here, it comes right up top. Draw this out to where you can work on it. A little squeeze tab. Separate these two pieces. So now we're going to spray the mounting bolts / nuts that hold the straps on. Do the other one as well. We're going to support the fuel tank. We're going to follow this evap hose. It leads to right here. You can either disconnect right here by pressing on that tab, or you can squeeze this and just take the hose off. Whatever's easiest for you. Maybe. Let's get this up off of here. So we're just going to squeeze on this yellow tab right here and try to draw this off of here. So now we're going to use our 16mm socket and remove the nuts that hold the straps on. Do the same to the other side. If you look up at the top where the strap is, it runs along the brake line. Just push it away from there and then draw it down. So let's get these straps out of here. They're fairly flexible. You can just bend it down. Okay, so once again, before you get started taking down your fuel tank, you need to make sure that the fuel is drained as much as possible. Safety is our #1 concern. Let's try to lower this down a little bit. Okay. So there's 4 bolts up here inside the filler neck. We're just going to remove those with a 10mm. There it is. All right, we can wiggle this around. If you look behind here, you're going to see there's a rubber boot. You need to remove the 8mm headed bolts. All right, let's bring this down and around. Now we'll see if we can get it out of here. Almost out. Come on, baby. There it is. Oh yeah, this side of the tank's rotted too. Right along the seam. Okay, let's get this tank down. It just has to work its way past the exhaust here, and on this side, of course. It's probably going to be a pretty close call, but we should be able to get it. Make sure we're not connected to anything. This looks decent. Okay, continuing down. Awesome. Let's get this out of here. So here we're going to take off these 8mm headed bolts. Now that these are out, we're going to wiggle this around. Should want to pop free. We'll just take off these clips along the fuel tank. Now as we lift this up, you want to pay attention to the level sensor right there. There it is. And of course we have our screen. Let's disconnect this by the little squeeze tab. Take off this clip. That one. Pull up on this. Come on. Nice. Okay, this wiggles around. Let's grab this, give it a little twist. I'm gonna hit it with some penetrant. Oh yeah. This one too. Come on. Almost there. There it is. So the key to getting this out, when it's the twist type like this is, you need to turn this all the way. So this is facing in a diagonal direction, okay? So it's almost aiming just at this corner here. At that point, you'll be able to move it around. You'll notice that it's noticeably looser than what it was before when it was twisted in the original direction. That's because it was locked in. At this point, I'm going to take my screwdriver, just try to work its way under here, and see if I can get this to pull out, just like the other one. So we'll draw this out. I'll stop right here because you can see that this unit has these cutout notches. There's one on the other side. And that matters for when you're putting it back in. Okay? You can see how this is. You can see how this is. Let's go ahead and get this rubber grommet out of here. Inspect it. Make sure it's in good condition. Let's remove the filler neck grommet. If I can get this screwdriver in there. I want to be careful not to damage the rubber. Okay, so let's start swapping over the grommets. Should want to slide in there. If you have any type of grease or lube, you can just spread it right along here. That'll be helpful for you in the future here. So we're going to clean the grommet that was on this. That looks good. Put it right up on there. Let's install this into the new tank. So let's get this into the tank. Slide it in, down, squish as far as you can, and then give it a twist. We're just going to twist this to lock it in. Bring this around. It stops right there. Beautiful. Let's put this on. Just going to slide it right in there. Make sure it's straight and completely level with the rubber grommet. Just get that back on there. Come along here, do the same all the way down. There we go. So now we're going to put the grommet in here. If you happen to have a little bit of lubricant, it's going to help you out. Here's our grommet, by the way. The big flappy side goes inside. There we go. Okay, so let's get our gasket on here. You have these little tabs. They're going to go up through the top part of the fuel sending unit here. So just go just like this, bring this around, slide it all the way up here to the top, and then put these little pitons through the hole. If you need pliers to grab these, you can use those. Just going to keep it from moving around on us. Let's get the little cover out of here. Next, it's time to put it inside the pump. To do that, it's going to go in just like this, okay? You've got your level sensor here. You've got your pickup screen. That's going to be down along the bottom of the tank. Try to get them both in here at the same time. There we go. This right here. Very nice. Okay, I can see my bolt holes. Awesome. So we have our mounting bolts. I'm just going to start all these in before I tighten any of them up completely. Okay, let's snug them up. Beautiful. Let's get this tab on here. Pull this down. We're just going to latch this in. Give it a tug. So now it's time to replace the strap. To do that, there's going to be a metal pin in there that goes from side to side like this. You're going to need to push that through with a punch that looks something like this. There's a small hole on one side and there's a larger hole on the other. I'm going to try to line that pin up so it's ready to come out the hole. And then just see if I can push it through. It might need a couple bonks, but we'll give it a try. Looks like it's pretty close. Once we get this one out, we'll do the same to the other side. That was loud. That looks good. Just checking to make sure we're not really pinching too much on stuff here. Of course, I got this exhaust in the way. Got our wiring. Okay, so it's time to get our strap up here. We've got our pin. It's going to go right through like this, except up inside here. Put it up like this. Make sure you're getting it through. Drop it down. Beautiful. Just going to try to get this strap lined up with my stud. Ah, it's so close. Right there. Okay, so just push up on the strap and start your nut. That looks pretty great. Okay, let's do the same to the other side. Okay, so let's get this tightened up. That's tight. Let's do the same to the other side. Okay, so get this off of here. This on here. It should click. Give it a tug. Generally speaking, this should be a lock. This isn't in the best condition, so there really isn't much I can do about that. We're gonna move along to this. Let's get our electrical connector back together. Click, give it a tug, that feels good. We're gonna put it up nice and high. Okay, on the passenger side of the vehicle, let's connect in this line. Ah, that feels great. So right up here, we have that hose that we disconnected for the evap system. We need to push this down as far as it can go. That feels great. Put the clamp back where we got it from. Beautiful. Okay, so let's get our filler neck back in here. Goes right in there. If you have a little bit of lube, it's a good idea to put some on. Rotating the filler neck as needed to get past the fender. Let's get this back connected. Give it a tug, make sure it's on. So let's get this bolt back in that holds this bracket. If I can get my fingers up in here. Looks like it's pretty lined up. That's tight. Okay, so we have our 4 small bolts. Those are going to go in here. And if this doesn't line up, you can just spin it around. But you need to line up the holes on the rubber to here. Put that through so I can see it. So now that we have all 4 started, let's tighten them up. Okay, so now we're just going to line up our bolt holes. You can move this around so you can see them. I see one right there. just going to start this in. We'll start in all the rest before we tighten them down. So this top left one, you need to make sure that you put your fuel cap back on that. And we'll just start that in and then tighten it up. Okay, let's add our fuel. Let's get our fuel cap back on. Let's reset this, press it down, put this back up in here. Let's get our push clip in here. Let's get our negative battery terminal back on. Okay, so now we're just going to prime the fuel system. To do that, I'm going to put the key in the on/run position without the vehicle running. I'll leave it sitting for a couple seconds. Turn it off. Do it again. Off. On. And here we go. Oh yeah, it's alive. Okay, so now we're just going to take a peek underneath the vehicle and check for anything dripping. If we have any fuel lines loose, we'll see it now. This looks pretty great. You want to make sure that you don't have any check engine lights shining up on your dash here. If you do, you probably left a line loose. Okay, shut the hood, take her for a road test.